Hello and welcome to my video. Today I'm doing a bit of a paint of a forest fairy. So if you want to come along with me on this journey to watch the process, then I welcome you. Just a bit about this. I recently joined a Discord that my sister created, and in this Discord every month her and her friends, they choose a theme and they create some art for it. So this month's theme was a fairy, so I thought that I would take part in this challenge, and so here I am creating that fairy. At the moment I'm just going through this sketch. I've got a different layer for the fairy herself, so that's why we're coloured in like a dark red as opposed to the black, so that I can easily move her around. And I've got the background there. I wanted to go for a little bit of a like a swampy kind of feel, so I've got some dark shadows in there as well as some mixed green sort of colours there. And I'm just sort of blocking in some of the colours. Going for like a bright green colour for the grass. I'm just using the pen tool to sort of block this in so that there's no like gaps in the colours. I've got the brown tree trunk, and then I'm just going over the sky a little bit to make it a little bit more darker so that we're going to get some nice contrast. I've also added some stars and some outlines for some bubbles. I'm just working on the sketch, more detailed sketch now. This is again just done with the pen tool, and I'm just going in and just doing a lot finer detail, so making sure that my sketch is a lot more neater, and block colors for the skin. Making sure that I've got everything within the lines there with the clothes. So I'm going to do this a different layer for each of those elements. The hair again is another layer, and I think the crown's on the same layer as the dress. So once I've got all my colors blocked in, then I'm doing something different this time. Normally I do go and add in shadows manually, but I wanted to try something a little bit different. I've been watching Sam Does Art lately, and he, I think, uses a multiply layer to add his shadows. So here I've added an extra layer, multiply, and I've clipped it to the skin layer, and I just added shadows using that, and it was actually so much easier, and I think it turned out a lot better. And then I've gone ahead and added another layer, or another 2 layers in this case. I've got a soft light layer to add my highlights, and then I've gone ahead and added a hard light layer for the outlines on the skin, particularly towards the edges where you've got that bright yellow color. So I'm going to do this process for literally every part of this fairy, and even just this drawing in general. So I've gone ahead and done the same thing on the hair. So again, just using the soft light layer, multiply layer, so that we can add some nice contrast to the image and give it that sort of 3D feel. And then again, just adding the same thing on the dress with the multiply, soft light and hard light layers. And just again, focusing on the light coming from above and then a little bit from the fairy wings as well. The fairy wings, I think I used a couple of different layers here. Particularly I used some add glow layers, and I really upped the opacity of those highlights to ensure that they're really bright and they stand out as much as I can. I think it was something that I really wanted to go for, was a sort of glowing kind of wings. And then again with the grass and the tree trunk, I'm going over with multiply, using different types of colors to add some shadows in and some variety to the grass. You know, added some blue in there, added some yellow to make it a little bit more dynamic than our base colors, and then using the soft light brush again to add in some little detail, so little different specks of grass, so that we've got not just a flat sort of surface. I've got detail in there that shows that we're on grass essentially, and I think this worked really well. I was very happy with using multiply and soft light, since I've come from just manually changing colors and it doesn't really work out. So I'm really glad to have found this strategy, so I'm hoping I'm going to use that in my paintings in the future. And just so again with this painting, I'm only using a couple of brushes. I'm really only using the round mixing brush, which is a really generic brush in Clip Studio Paint, and also the pen tool, just the, again, really generic pen tool. I think the only brushes that I'm using that are a little bit different is the soft circle tool, so that's more of a pattern tool, which I use for the bubbles there, and then there is a glitter or a star tool, I'm not sure what it was called, for the stars. Now I'm back to just working on the tree trunk. Got my branches, giving that sort of shadow with the multiplier again, definition to those sort of elements of the trunk, and then blending it in. I use the blending tool there to sort of soften the detail a little bit, but I do want to keep some strong detail. And then I've added a little bit more shadow over to the edge there and some more finer detail. I've brightened up the grass there as well with another burst of soft light to sort of, you know, change up the situation. Removing some of the lines on the dress to make it make sense. And now just going over some final details there with the frog and the crown, which we haven't done yet. And giving the crown a little bit more of a personalized look, adding some detail to the dress a little bit more, and then also adding in some colors to the flowers, adding some bubbles in to the scene for no particular reason. Yeah, playing around, I guess, with the background. I don't want to bring too much attention to the flowers and stuff, but because I just want the main focus to be on the fairy herself and just brightening up the skin and the scene a little bit more, changing the color of the dress there to make it stand out a little bit more. A little dragonfly and some light to the scene. I may have gotten a little bit carried away with the highlights, I think, for this picture, and some last minute hair highlights. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video and happy painting.